Welcome to the Curse Breaker Podcast. This is your host, Eddie Thomason, an inspirational speaker on a mission to help youth and young adults shed self-limiting beliefs so they can pursue a life that they're passionate about living. Just to be clear, a curse breaker is anyone who sees and understands the issues that have been passed down from generation to generation, but instead of using those things as an excuse not to succeed, they use it as a reason for why they go out and change their family legacy for the better forever. Have you ever heard the phrase, it runs in the family? Like alcoholics run in the family, or I'm overweight because it runs in the family, or I'm broke because it runs in the family? Well, I think those are all lies that we choose to accept as truth. The next time you hear that phrase, it runs in the family, you can say, oh, it did, until it ran into me. So if you're ready to get out of your own way and step into your greatness, then you're going to want to stick around. So I'll see you on the inside, Curse Breaker. What up, what up? Welcome to episode 1 of the Curse Breaker Podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. You have no idea some of the things that had to get done in order to get to this point of recording the very first episode to something that's going to help change lives forever, okay? I'm so excited to have you guys here today, and we got amazing things to talk about. But before we dive into a whole lot of those different things, I have to first take the time to thank my friends over at Gamut Entertainment because they're just amazing. I stand behind what they do because they're a company that doesn't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. They're vowing to change the industry forever. And they podcast with the purpose, and all of the shows actually have show goals. One being my show, and my show goals is basically to help build leadership and entrepreneurship programs inside of low-income schools so that kids and youth can start learning the things that I wish I learned when I was about 6, 7, 8 years old, or even moving into my teenage years. Those are the things that I want this show to help produce because we're all about giving back, okay? So if you want to help make a change, come join the Gamut family because together we can make a difference. Okay, bet. So let's talk about some of the different things that's happening, that's going on. This episode itself is really just an introduction. I'm giving you guys a little bit of background about where I came from, who I am, why I even started the show in the first place. I'm also going to share a little bit about the what you can expect. So over the next few episodes and within the first season, also want to share with you guys some things that you can get excited about coming into season 2, because there's going to be a little bit of a different flair, a little bit of a change up to keep all you guys on your toes and not get bored. You won't get bored hearing me, I'll tell you that. But I definitely want to bring some other people on to have them have conversations with you, because what I've overcome is not everything that everybody else has overcome. And I haven't overcome some things that other people have overcome. So therefore, I need to bring them on so you can hear their stories and know where they come from so that it can help you as well. So like I said, a bunch of different things to talk about. We're going to hit a couple of these things all throughout the entire episode itself. But the very first thing I want to say is this. We are doing a founding family contest. So make sure you stick around and listen to at least the end of this podcast to make sure that you get what you need to do in order to be entered in this contest, because we're going to be giving away some swag. We're going to be giving away a signed copy of my book. So those are things that you guys definitely want to stick around for to make sure that you know all the things that you need to do to be a part of that contest, okay? So with all that being said, let's kind of dive into, I just want to talk about my background first, because obviously if you don't know me, then it's probably tough to figure out, like, why am I actually listening to this dude, okay? I know I'm like that. I question people sometimes, and I'm like, no, bro, I need to know the context of where you come from before you start giving me content, because that's just how I am. I want to know I'm hearing from somebody that's in the standpoint of life or where I want to be. So I want to share who I am with you guys, okay? Here's my background. I was born and raised down in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was born into a family that struggled with poverty for generations. I mean, my great-grandparents struggled with poverty. My grandparents did, my mom and dad did, and my dad actually left when I was about 7 or 8 years old, which forced my mom to take care of me and my brother on a $13,000 a year disability income. So it was rough, man. Like, poverty is an understatement. We literally live below the poverty line, right? So it was definitely an interesting time that I lived in and I lived through. However, here's what I appreciate. I give my mom a whole lot of credit, and I was a mama's boy by default. My dad wasn't there. I just told you that, right? So I was a mama's boy by default. However, I appreciate the fact that I never really knew I was broke until later on in life. Like, I had no idea. My mom did a phenomenal job of making sure we had food on the table, making sure I had clothes on my back, and just making sure that I had still a fun life as a kid. So I don't want you guys to play this pity party of like, oh man, he came from this crazy background. Wait till you hear the rest of it, because I'm not looking for any sympathy. You'll find that first about me. I'm not looking for people to just tell me like, oh, poor baby. I'm not a poor baby. We're growing, right? So anyways, like I said, I was born and raised inside of that environment, and I had this fundamental belief, and it's probably very consistent with a lot of what other people also think when they're in minority type of environments or low income poverty type environments. I thought I only had three choices in order to create success, right? Number one, I was going to be some type of professional athlete. So a basketball player, football player, soccer player, something like that. Soccer. That's funny. Number two, I thought I had an opportunity that I was supposed to be some type of performer, professional entertainer, right? So a rapper, a dancer, a singer, something like that. Or I can choose option three and sell drugs. I thought that was my only three options. I'm not saying that's for everybody, but I'm saying for me, that's what I had inside of my brain as my options, right? I chose option one. I said, I'm going to go to the league. I'm going to play in the NFL. I was a huge football guy, wanted to play football for as long as I can remember. And that was pretty much my outlet. That was my way in my mind of getting out. I had this dream, this desire to be able to pay my mom back and give her so many different things because of the sacrifices that she had to make for me in order to get me into some of these doors and play in some of these teams that I had a chance to play for, right? So that was kind of the fundamental dream that I had starting out. However, here's what I know. My brother told me like, hey, bro, if you want to go to the NFL, you're going to have to go to college. And I knew for a fact, right? I already told you guys, I was raised on a $13,000 a year disability income, right? My mom did not have that money to send me to college. So my dream became, I have to get a D1 scholarship because that's the way to get into the league. It's like the stepping stone that I had to take in order to get to where I wanted to go. And of course, I got hit with all kinds of stuff, right? Like as soon as I figured that out in my own mind and I made that decision in my head, I would go and tell people about it. Like, oh, what's your plan, little man? Like, oh, I'm going to the league, right? I'm going to the NFL. I'm gonna get a scholarship, do all these different things. And the high school that I went to, they never had anybody get a D1 scholarship coming out of that high school. So I got hit with all kinds of flack, right? I got some people that told me that it was never done before. I had some people that told me that basically it's a pipe dream, that I should give it up, basically just focus on my education, which there was a little bit of truth inside of that one. But the big thing that I heard when I was growing up, which was wild, I had one person tell me I had a better chance of either going to jail or dying before I could ever accomplish that goal. And just to be honest, that person was not lying. Like, it's true. Statistically speaking, I had a better chance of going to jail or dying before I ever earned a D1 scholarship. However, I chose not to accept that as truth over my own life. I already knew I wasn't going to jail. I already knew that I wasn't dying. How did I know? I don't know exactly why that's a thing. However, I knew in my mind, I made the decision that that was not going to happen. And long story short, I became the first male in that high school's history to ever earn a D1 scholarship. So that was a huge kudo moment inside of my life. I basically, I said in my mind, I'm going to prove some people wrong. Now, here's the next best step, right? Because for me, although the scholarship was great, because of that scholarship, I became the first male in my family to ever earn a college degree. So that was huge when you talk about the thought process of a curse breaker, right? Because in my mind, I was like, bro, I'm not going to stick my future inside of this bucket of everybody else in my past have only accomplished this much. So therefore, that's my ceiling, right? No, I looked at it as that ceiling became my floor that I can work from. So that moment when I earned my diploma actually not my diploma. So that moment when I earned my degree was basically the time when I realized, like, bro, I am born to be a curse breaker. I am born to not just allow my past of my family to dictate the future that I have. Like, I have the opportunity to go and create any type of life or lifestyle that I want, that I can fathom in my own mind. And then that's what I set out to do. I said, you know what? I'm not going to allow that to restrict me. I'm going to use all of these as reasons to go out and create a better life for myself. So that's what that phrase curse breaker, that's where it comes from. Because I don't want people to realize, I don't want people to fall into this trap of this self-limiting belief that I did. Like, oh, because my family or my mom and dad was alcoholics, or because I was born into an environment that has a lack of opportunity, or because I was born into an environment maybe that's violent, right? I didn't want people to look at me and say like, oh, because I was born into that, I could never succeed. Because it's just a lie. It's false. It's not true. So that was the big thing for me that I had to start to overcome. And the reason why I'm making this podcast is because I want other people who have grown up in similar situations that I have, who basically had those same self-limiting beliefs or self-limiting beliefs in general, and they need to figure out how to shed them so they can step into their greatness and really pursue a life that they're passionate about living. Okay? That is the purpose of this show. The purpose of this show is to help you get out of your own way so that you can literally step into what you were born to create. Period. Like, you have the seeds of greatness already inside of you, but it's up to you to plant those seeds in an environment that will allow you to grow. Okay? So that's the purpose of this show. I know I got a little deep right there. You guys will find out that I'm a fun-loving guy. I bring a lot of energy. However, I don't have no problem punching you in the face with some words every once in a while, right? Sometimes we need to hear some of these things. And I say that because I was literally the one that hated being punched in the face verbally. But now I kind of like it. It's like that painful thing, when you get a scab and you poke in it and you're like, that hurt, but you just keep on doing it. I'm a weirdo, bro. I'm a little bit like that now. So hopefully you guys get some value outside of that. So that's basically my background, right? That's the background, the reason behind the show itself. Here's what I want you to expect for season 1. Season 1 is all going to be a solo season. You're going to be hearing from me the entire time through episodes. I think it's going to be about 10 or 11 episodes as we go through season 1. Okay. The reason behind it is because I'm actually going to take a deep dive into my book. And for those of you guys who don't know, I am an Amazon best-selling author in 8 different categories. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm just, again, providing a little bit of content so that you have an idea, or a little bit of context, so that you have an idea of what to expect from me, right? Like, I don't want you to look at me as this dude that's like, oh, he just literally woke up and said, I'm gonna start a podcast today. Which I feel as though that's a lot of people that do that. And sometimes I'm not even knocking them, because a lot of those people have some wisdom and some knowledge to share. However, for me, I just want you guys to understand that some of the things that I've taught and some of the things that I've spoken about has received a lot of accolades, not from me, but from those who I helped, or those who have picked up my book, or those who I've had an interaction with. And be honest with you, it's very uncomfortable for me to talk about some of the successes that I've had, just because in my mind, I have not created the success that I really wanted to yet overall, right? Like, I'm still in the process of chasing my dream and chasing my passion. However, a lot of times as I communicate and talk about it, it's like, to everybody else, they're like, oh my gosh, like, this dude is already so far beyond with everything else that he probably, set out to do. But I'm letting you guys know I'm human. I got things and dreams and goals and things that I'm still in pursuit of that's going to come together as well. So season 1, like I said, is all going to be about myself talking to you guys, developing a little bit of relationship, a little bit of rapport, but it's also going to go through each individual chapter of my book. My book is up here in the corner. For those of you guys who are actually listening to this, it's the book itself is on Amazon, but it's called Unlock Yourself: How to Earn the Success You Were Born to Create. And the book itself is based on this core belief that we are all born with the seeds of greatness inside of us. You heard me say it in this episode already, and you probably heard it in the intro as well. But that is my core belief. You are born with those seeds already there, okay? So stop thinking that you're not worthy, or you're not in a position in life to have anything in life that you want. You're born with a purpose, okay? You're meant to have life, but you're also meant to have it more abundantly. You're not supposed to be living off of crumbs. You're supposed to be living off an abundance, an increase. Okay. That's what I want you guys to understand. And the book itself, that's where, like I said, the fundamental belief is there. However, the formula that's on the inside is the Unlock You formula. And we're going to go through each of those letters along the way to help you identify what it is that you want to do long term from the beginning. And then we're going to help you walk you through the thought process and the habits that you need to create in order to produce that lifestyle that you want to have. Okay. So real quick, I want to tell you guys about why I wrote the book, because to be honest with you, it started out as it was a materialistic kind of a selfish reason, right? But stick with me, because I figured out something along the way as I was writing it, and it makes the book so much more special to me. Okay. But the reason why I wrote it initially was because of my speaking career. So initially I was like, you know what? I need something that I also can leave behind when I'm on stage, because my keynotes are typically like 45 minutes long, maybe in there an hour long. I've had some as short as just 15 to 20 minutes. So I couldn't share everything that I knew that I put inside this book within a 45-minute keynote. So therefore, I figured if I write it all down in a book, I can also then sell that from stage, or I give it as an opportunity for people to go deeper outside of what they already heard me share on a stage or in some type of conference or, assembly type of situation. So that was the primary thought behind it. Like that was the driving factor of like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and write this book. But here's the cool thing. As I was writing it, I started to realize like legacy has been a huge thing for me. And legacy in this book has been what took over the entire project. Like it was the passion behind it. And just to give you guys a little bit of, again, context, right? I ended up enrolling inside of a course with good friends of mine is Roger Brooks, who has the American Real podcast, and Andre Heichel Jr., who co-hosts a podcast called Real Talk University with Christian Bonnier. And those two guys hosted a book writing club, and they're both best-selling authors themselves. They hosted a book writing club that basically started January 12th and was supposed to be writing a bestseller in 90 days. And the goal was to have your rough draft written within 90 days. So by August, I think 17th or 19th, whatever it was, right? So that was 90 days later from January 12th. Me being who I am and a couple other things that was happening in my life, I had I had my second son being born that year, which was, well, this year, this same year. I don't know why I just said that, but I had my second son being born. He was born March 31st, 2020. My first son was born March 1st, 2019. So here I am in this window, and I said to myself, I'm going to have to get this book done so that I can have all the time and freedom to spend with my little guy after he was born. So here's what my goal became. I said, I'm going to write the rough draft and be done before April. So then that way I can actually launch it in April. Well, when I started writing the book, everything just started flowing out so greatly that I was finished writing the rough draft by February, I think it was 18th or the 19th. So just a little over a month, right? I finished writing the rough draft. And then from there, I was able to do all the editing, and I hired out an editor. I didn't do all my editing myself. That's crazy. I did all the formatting, all the design work, all those different things that went into the book. I did it myself. And I was able to actually launch the book on April 24th, and it became an Amazon bestseller within the first week and stayed there for the second week as well. So that is the story behind the book. And it was, I guess, to give you guys a little bit of the backdrop behind it. However, the reason that started to reveal itself to me as I was writing the book was the thought process of legacy and what legacy meant to me. So I have a mentor in my life who always has told me legacy is all about what are you doing today that's going to impact generations to come. And prior to, I don't even think, before writing this book, I didn't feel like I had anything of real value that could be left for generations to glean from and learn from. So obviously, me being a dad of two younger boys, I started to think to myself, like, this book is obviously going to be dedicated to them and what they can accomplish and what I'm excited about them pursuing, because it all became about how can I increase this ceiling, my own ceiling, right? Keep on pressing the comfort zone and pressing the ceiling of accomplishment up so that they have a new floor to stand on to go and pursue their dreams and their goals as they start to get older and stepping into their maturity and what they want to pursue as well. But then in a deeper aspect than that, because legacy is not just about you and your own family, it's about everybody else too. So as I was writing the book, it was like epiphany moments, man, where I was like, man, somebody is literally going to pick up this book who grew up in the same similar situation that I did, right? Maybe they're living in poverty. Maybe they were like me where, they went 2 years without having any running hot water in their house, and they literally bathed or bathed themselves with a cup, a bucket, a basin, whatever, and some hot water and some cold water mixed inside of it. Like, that was how I bathed myself for 2 years, man. So somebody is going to pick up that book. They're going to read some of the pages, or they're going to read through it, whatever. And they're going to say, bro, here's this dude that literally went through all of these different circumstances and obstacles. However, he still came out victorious. He came out and created success. He came out and had a successful marriage. He had a successful business. He also was a successful dad. Like, those are the things that I feel as though is going to help somebody else break self-limiting beliefs. Because once you see somebody else do and overcome what you're currently going through, it gives you that passion, that desire, that know-how to say, well, if he did it, so can I. It's just like the Roger Bannister story, right? You guys ever heard about the 4-minute mile? The guy basically, before Roger Bannister, it was basically understood by science, right? Scientists used to say all the time, it is physically impossible for the human body to run a mile under 4 minutes. And Roger Bannister comes along, was like, whatever, bro, I'm gonna go break this anyway. And then as soon as Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, I think 3 years later, there was like 30 people that broke the 4-minute mile. And today, some of the athletes that we have today, man, with the 40-yard times and everything else, like, it's people breaking 4-minute miles left and right, okay? So I don't want people to think that you are just subject to what current situation that you're growing up in, okay? Because it's just not true. You can go create success as long as you choose to. And as long as you start to create the habits and association of people that you need around you, that's going to help uplift you and encourage you to the spot in life of where you want to be. Okay. So that was long-winded. I'm going to take a sip of water. Goodness gracious. All right, so I'm back. So that's giving you guys background on the book. And like I said, actually, you know what I should do? I should give you guys at least what the Unlock You formula is, so that you know how to prepare, or even if you want to skip around as episodes come out, I want you guys to know at least what the formula is. So the Unlock You formula, the U is for upshot. So it's talking all about vision and what you need to know about how to solidify your vision and how to back it up with the why. So that's what the U is for, okay? The N is for negativity. And we're going to talk all about how to cap the negative, how to get the negativity out of your own mind so that you can start filling your mind with the positive things and really start setting yourself up to create the success that you want to have. The L is for listening. And it's all about filling your mind with positive things. Listen, surrounding yourself with people who can tell you that you can do something instead of having people around you that say that you can't, right? And establishing habits that allows you to keep your positivity tank full so that you can continue to remind yourself of your upshot and the things that you're running towards, okay? So that is what the L is for. The O, the first O, is for optimize. Optimizing your growth environment, which is all about association and the people that you choose to hang around, because they are crucial for whether or not you're going to create success or you're going to become a failure. Association is huge, okay? So the C part for the formula is choices, because the choices that you make will determine just if people can trust you or if you're a person of character. And those are the things that are very important when you're starting to develop a team of people who need to be around you as you start to, encounter obstacles and things that you're gonna come into, okay? So that's what the C is. The K is knowledge. And if you guys don't know anything else, I want you to forget this phrase, knowledge is power. Forget it. I hate that phrase. I know you probably heard it. Maybe you think it's an amazing phrase. And I think it's amazing if it had one more word attached to it. And that word is applied. Applied knowledge is power, not just knowledge alone. So we talk all about why that's important, why you should be acquiring knowledge, but then more importantly, why you should be applying what you now have as knowledge in your own brain. Okay. So that's unlock. Okay. That's the first word of the formula. The U, the Y inside of you first stands for yearn. So yearning is basically that deep burning desire to actually accomplish something. It's that feeling that you get that no matter what obstacle comes in your way, no matter how many people tell you you can't do something, you are destined to prove them wrong. And it's that desire that's inside of there that makes you want to overcome it and keep pushing forward. Okay. So that's what the yearning part is. The O, the second O of the formula is observe and learn, because you can observe things from people all around you and figure out how to actually create that success. Observing is huge. Okay. We're going to talk about that inside of when that episode airs. And then the very last one, the very last letter is unending. You have to understand that this entire process of unlocking yourself is an unending journey. You don't get to the upshot, you don't achieve the goal and then say, all right, I'm done, I made it, like there's nothing else to do. That's false, right? You have to continuously be in pursuit of something, because here's what I learned. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards by default. There's no such thing as standing still. So make sure you are continuously learning. You're continuously filling out the tank. You're continuously pursuing something so that you can continue to show and be the example to those around you and the inspiration so those people can go out and do what they need to do to be successful as well. So that is the map. That is the foundation of the book, the formula that we're going to be talking about over the next few episodes. And I'm excited about it because, as you can tell, I can get hyped, man. And each of these words means something very specific and special to me. I'm gonna share a lot of stories and things that I've learned along the way from my experiences, and I think you guys are gonna get a lot out of that. Okay, so let's see. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes. Obviously, for the video on audio, I don't know, bro. I'm looking down. I'm telling you. So visualize it. Cool. So here's the next thing. The next thing is the following seasons. Okay, so the following seasons after season 1 definitely are going to have interviews in them. And here's why. Obviously, the community is not just about me. This podcast is much greater than me. So I don't think my story connects with each individual person. And for that reason, I want to invite other curse breakers, people who have overcome different obstacles in their life to still create success, because it's those stories that a lot of you guys need to hear in order to overcome some of the obstacles that are inside of your head, right? The obstacles that are inside of your own life. What I tell people all the time is the things that I've overcome, they now look like anthills. But to somebody else that's currently going through it, they look like mountains, right? So I want to start bringing in other people who have overcome these mountains in your mind that's now their anthills, so that you can start to see yourself over that mountain and overcoming that hurdle. So season 2 is going to be all about interviewing other guests, other people who are curse breakers, who I trust, who have developed and established themselves as amazing people, who have overcome the obstacles, who have beaten the odds. And they're just people that I'm excited to introduce to you guys. Some of the people I've been a guest on their podcast, and it's been the inspiration behind me starting this podcast as well. And then other people are just close friends and people that I've met along the way, man. I'm a huge person of connecting and just making sure that we know other people and we're, loving and caring of other people. So those are the things that I wanted you guys to know. Now, I told you guys in the very beginning of the episode that you guys need to be aware of a giveaway that we're going to be doing, or a contest we're going to be doing. And that's the Founding Family Contest. Okay. So here's what I want you guys to do. For the first month, here are the details. Okay. So I know it's some melancholies out there that's definitely like, Eddie, I need the details. So here are the details. Okay. I'm giving them to you. For the first month, we're going to be running the Founding Family Contest. It's going to run from July 24th, which is when the podcast show actually launches, all the way through August 24th. So that's literally 1 month, right? And the winner of the contest is going to be announced on the episode that's releasing August 28th. All right. So you're going to know who you are if you won this by the time August 28th gets here. The winner is going to get a signed copy of my book, Unlock Yourself, How to Earn the Success You Were Born to Create, as well as some of the Curse Breaker swag. Okay. I'm excited for it because my team has been helping out with creating these amazing mock designs, and it's really quality material. It's dry fit material because I'm a big dude. I'm an athlete. I typically only wear dry fit unless I have to wear some type of button down. Okay. So I like to give out dry fit just because it's the most comfortable thing out there. Okay. So I'm excited about that for you guys, but here's how you qualify. Okay. Here's how you qualify. You want to go first to eddiethomason.com and join the mailing list, the email list. Okay. Make sure you join the email list. That's the number one way to get your name into our system. Okay. Once you're inside the emailing list, I want you, here's step number 2, take a screenshot of your welcoming email. Okay. Take a screenshot of the welcoming email. You might find it inside of your spam folder. Hopefully you won't go straight into your inbox, but it's a possibility you'll find it inside of your spam folder. And just take a screenshot of that welcoming email. The next thing you want to do is share that screenshot on the social media that you're most comfortable with. Okay. For each social media that you share on, your name gets entered as another time. Okay. So for example, if you share on Facebook, you're entered once. If you share on Instagram, you're entered twice. If you share on LinkedIn, you're entered a third time, right? So if for every individual platform you use, then your name is going to be entered into this raffle another time. We're going to have a random generator pick out the name for the person who actually won. Now, here's the other most important part, though. Once you share on those social medias, I want you to also tag at Cursebreaker Podcast on any of those social medias, okay? And tag me. I'm typically Eddie Thomason _, okay? So at Eddie Thomason, THOMASON _. That's how you typically find me. Also, you can find all these things inside of the show notes as well. I don't want to bore you with all the extra details, but all these things are going to be inside the show notes for you guys to see that as well. Okay, cool. So that is episode 1. So excited to have you guys here. Excited to welcome you guys into this community of Curse Breakers. Welcome. Okay, so make sure you're listening to the Curse Breaker Podcast of any of your favorite outlets, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And if you could, leave a review, okay? Rate us and leave a review so we can make sure we show up on other people's results so that we can help them break their curses and step into their greatness as well, okay? Also, be sure to visit the website blackgamutent.com to get the latest news on podcasts and giveaways and contests throughout the entire circuit. So not only am myself here at Cursebreaker Podcast running contests and everything else, a lot of the other hosts on the other podcast shows within Black Gamut are also running contests and everything else for giveaways. So make sure that you go to the website and figure out what's going on there, because you can be entered to win some more stuff and some more swag, okay? So with that, guys, I'm all set. Look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Deuces.